Thank you and welcome to the March 8th Education Council meeting. Today we will call the meeting to order at 3:46 and I'll turn it over to Mrs. Bellizzi for discussion of the 2021-2022 calendar.
Thank you, Mrs. Raccio. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. The purpose for us meeting today is to review the calendar for the 2021-2022 school year for the purposes of looking at the professional development days that we have at the beginning of the school year, the start of the school year, looking then at the projected last day of school, and then reviewing some of our potential things that we may be able to look into again for next year, such as maybe virtual snow days. Unfortunately, this time we don't know if we're going to be able to do that again next year. But, you know, at least being able to have a discussion about it and be prepared for next year if that is something that we are allowed to do moving forward as a district and something that's offered to us for next year. Currently, our calendar as we have it, that what we already have approved, is we currently have professional development days. We have 3 before school starts. We currently have assigned Monday, August 23rd, Tuesday, August 24th, and Wednesday, August 25th as our 3 professional days before school, with the first day of school starting on August 26th, and our projected last day being June 7th of 2022. So I know that we always follow the calendar of 183 school days, and we have 188 staff days to think about as we move through and discuss the calendar. So some things I know we discussed the last time we met was looking at the calendar to see if we wanted to maintain 3 professional development days, if we thought we needed to add any additional days, or if there is a way we can look at proposing to move the days that we start with. So right now we're starting on the 23rd of August as a professional development day. So kind of wanted to have a discussion with all of you on the committee as to thoughts moving forward. We have some proposals that we'd like to discuss. I can share those now if that's okay. So we were thinking of proposing moving the start of the professional development day back by 2 days. So starting on August 25th would be the first professional development day. So those 3 days would be August 25th, the 26th, and the 27th. That would move the first day of school to August 30th. And we would like to have a discussion about making August 30th and August 31st, I believe, early release days, those first 2 days, which would then move the projected last day of school to June 9th of 2022. We also wanted to propose and discuss factoring in maybe 1 traditional snow day moving forward. And, you know, if we have the option of the virtual snow days, like we've had the opportunity to do this year, if that's something we're allowed to do as a district, then considering doing that after the 1 traditional snow day. Thoughts? Anyone have any comments?
So I just say I am a fan of the virtual snow days, to obviously pushing them forward for a couple reasons. One, I like the consistent end of the year date for graduation purposes and planning and preparation for families throughout the summer. So as far as the virtual snow days go, if we're allowed to, I'm on board with continuing them. I think they've worked out really well. And I mean, everyone knows our kids are well versed in virtual school right now. So that is really, you know, that can be done pretty smoothly. And I am okay with the shift forward or back for a later start to the school year.
Thank you.
The only thing I might add, if it's possible, and I don't know if it's an alternate, but right now, the 9th is a Thursday. If we could just go 1 more day and make that final day a Friday, again, selfishly for graduation purposes.
Well, that's the whole idea, though. We're going to probably have at least 1 snow day. So that would be 1 traditional snow day, which then would make the final day of the school year a Friday, the 10th, if we're allowed to do the virtual days.
Okay, yep, I'm on board. That sounds good.
All right. I think Brendan, I cut you off. Sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. Um, I personally, and a few teachers that I've talked to, I like the idea of teachers starting on a Monday and having the 3 professional days, and then the students starting on a Tuesday or a Thursday, Friday. With 2 cohorts, I know it's easy. It's nice having them, seeing them once before the weekend to kind of get the introductory material out of the way, and then starting the new material. Also, I know a couple students I talked to said they like the idea of having one introductory class and then having the weekend to gather all the materials they have. And I know if we started on a Monday, we would end on a Tuesday. So I don't know if, I know a lot of parents and some elementary teachers, there was a big pushback about having more snow days. So if we were to start on a Monday and end on a Tuesday, we could factor in 3 snow days and after that go to full virtual. That's something I'd like us to consider.
Dr. Menzo?
Yeah, I would just say that we're not intending to, we're going back full time with students 5 days a week. So there's not going to be 2 cohorts in the fall. So you don't have to worry about that unless the governor changes something on us, which I don't see us going that direction. So we will not be going back in a hybrid. So there would be 5 days a week for students full time. So there wouldn't be an A group and a B group. So that concern shouldn't be one at this point.
I just meant like as the high school and I believe the middle school. Like I would do all of my classes once Monday on Thursday and all of them once on Friday. So I would go through all of my classes once.
Okay, so just a traditional AB. I just want to make sure because you said 2 cohorts, and I didn't want to, because this is being obviously videotaped. I didn't want anybody to think that. So we're on the same page now because that's what I thought, but I wanted to clarify.
Misspoke.
So the other thing, so then what I think I heard you recommend, let me just make sure, is that we would keep, so you would either keep the calendar the same way. I guess that's what you're saying, leave it the way it is?
I would say, and this is again my own opinion, and I'm definitely just throwing it out there for discussion. I like it either the way it is, or if we know that, or if we think that virtual snow days is possible, possibly even starting the next week. So teachers would start on August the 30th. Students would start on September 2nd. And then the 2nd and 3rd would be the Thursday, Friday. And if you want to continue with the half days, and that would have us ending on the 14th, which is a Tuesday. And then again, if we had 3 snow days built in, that would bring us till Friday the 17th. But if we're not too sure about snow days and we think they might not be virtual, then I may tend to start a little bit earlier. So I know we won't have answers until it's too late.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish there's a lot of answers. We'd like to know about snow days. We'd like to know about voluntary distance learning continuing next year. We'd like to know about graduation this year, capacity, all those things. But unfortunately, we asked this question. I was on a call Friday with other superintendents with the interim commissioner, Charlene Tucker, and there's not a timeline right now. So that makes it difficult. So I wish I knew. I really do, because that would be wonderful for all of us. But I don't know. I know there's legislation regarding use of virtual learning days. But it's the State Board of Education that ultimately makes the decision. So sorry.
So then along those lines, we don't even know, for all of the days that we have earmarked as early dismissal for professional development, those are going to be actual in-person days next year. Those won't be virtual learning days, correct? Because we don't know if we can have them.
Well, we would want them. The only reason why they were virtual learning days this year was because of the shortened day schedule for middle school and high school students, that to have them come in for such a short time to just go home was the challenge. So next year they would be in-person days for all students.
Okay. So I'm going to throw this out there because it was a calendar that we had maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm sure there's a reason that it wasn't considered. But instead of having students go 5 full days that week of the 30th and having the first and second day be half days, would we entertain having those be full days and making it a 4-day weekend with giving the third off? We did that one year, and I don't know if it was the end of the roof project or something, but we had Friday, Monday off, and we made Labor Day a 4-day weekend. And I know historically we didn't want the little ones to have to jump into a 5-day week right off the bat. So we've tried to look at when school actually starts to not have a 5-day week. Who else? Mrs. Varone?
Hi. I believe that was done in conjunction with getting professional development day in. That wasn't geared for, it was a win-win for the students, but I believe the professional development calendar actually drove that decision that year. And I believe it was wildly unpopular, if I recall. So going back on that, I do have another question, but I will wait till we're done discussing this proposal by Mrs. Raccio.
Dr. Menzo?
I just want to echo Miss Varone Letterly's comments that it was because of PD, and I don't believe it was well received.
Okay. Oh, because it was a student off day, but the teachers had PD. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
it is difficult because many of our teachers obviously.
Yeah, I get it. I forgot that. Okay. I wouldn't want to do that either. Okay. I knew there were a reason you didn't consider it. Okay. Any other ideas, thoughts? Mrs. Varone, is that you again, or did you just not put your hand down?
Now it's me again on another matter.
Okay.
It's come to our attention during the course of the year with the virtual learning days that the schedule for the little ones at the pre-K, the pre-K to 2 schools, I can never say that correctly, excuse me, the pre-K to 2 schools, that potentially the distance learning days might have been a little tough on our youngest learners this year. So if we consider using the virtual days next year, that potentially their daily schedule be a little bit different looking than it did this year. I'm just putting it out there. I've had a few pre-K to 2 teachers reach out to me on that matter. They're not they are not necessarily against those types of days, but the length of the day and it just wasn't didn't seem to be as developmentally appropriate as they would like to see. Just a thought, not necessarily a criticism of the type of day, but just going forward, if we continue to look at those days, look at it potentially maybe a different kind of schedule for them.
So maybe we can check the statute for the minimum. Oh, maybe we can check the statute for the minimum number of days or minimum number of minutes and see if we're way over that.
I would be willing to talk about anything like that. And also, I mean, who would have ever thought, based on our history of the last several years, we'd have so much snow this year. I mean, really, we've hardly had any, and well, actually, we probably should have in hindsight, suspect with the way it would be going. But, you know, we haven't had a lot of snow. So when we were, you know, talking about virtual learning days, I don't think anybody expected the amount of snow that we did get. And hopefully are done with.
Ms. Raccio, you're on mute.
Is that better?
Yes, it is.
How's that? Okay. So I think right now, no other comments or suggestions. I don't see any other hands. We have the calendar that was approved last March, or we have Mrs. Belizzi's, I'll get you, Mr. Corso, or Mrs. Belizzi's suggestion of moving and starting the PD 2 days later and adding some time on in June. Mr. Corso.
Yeah, sorry. I raised my hand the moment you said I noticed there's no other hands raised. So that's my fault.
It's all good.
The only question I had is we were looking at that ACES regional calendar at one point, or not even looking, but talking about it. Is that just off? Are we not talking about it? And I'm okay with it, but I didn't know if that was
There's no
We have no
mandatory.
obligation.
Yeah,
right. And are other districts still doing like what we're doing, making our own decisions, not really utilizing the? Okay.
Mr. Corso, could you run through what your suggestion was too? I have Ms. Belizzi's, but I don't know that I got yours down. You were thinking of ending on the 9th and doing what?
So I think right now we are ending on the 9th. I had talked about just ending on that Friday, which is the 10th. But Dr. Menzo pointed out that 10th would be that day for the snow day the built-in one snow day. And I'm okay with that. So my proposal would be that I agree with Mrs. Belizzi's proposal.
Okay. So I guess I would entertain, no other hands, I'm looking now. Nope. I guess we could entertain a motion to change, oh, Brendan.
Can I just ask, what was the motivation from switching from the 23rd to the 25th? Was there a line of reasoning that like we can consider moving as before we vote for this?
I'll be honest, the line of reasoning came down to the fact that we don't know how late the governor is going to tell us different pieces of information. And because we all know that last year we weren't getting information about the first day of school. I mean, it's a very different environment. But I mean, the key thing is the voluntary distance learning piece. We don't know how soon we're going to get that. And if we're scheduling without voluntary distance learning this summer, or vice versa, and then we have to put those students in classes, that changes, especially at the high school, a lot with scheduling in middle school too. So just those extra 2 days might be helpful to making certain that we can balance classes, or if we have to change student schedule, because now, those different scenarios. And again, not knowing the timeline, that was the only reason. Just to a point that Mr. Corso, you made a comment about the ACES calendar. ACES is going back after Labor Day, and none of the area districts that we are affiliated with honored that either. So they're all going back before Labor Day.
All right, I'm going to try this again. I don't think there's any other hands raised. So we can entertain a motion if anybody would like to propose one to move the start of PD to the 25th, have it run the 25th, 26th, 27th, have the student days start on the 30th as the 30th, 31st half days, and move the end of school from the 7th to the 9th.
So moved. Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy. There's a motion, discussion, Dr. Menzo, and Mr. Corso.
Just to clarify that it would be a student early release day, not as faculty early release day. So the faculty would be a full day. They would be able to work in their classrooms, do additional prep after the students leave, but the students would be leaving early, not faculty.
All right, so moved as amended by Dr. Menzo.
And then
Brendan?
just a point of order, this will come to the board for a vote as well on changing the calendar, correct?
Yes, we have no authority here. We just discuss and put together a proposal, and then it needs the full board to be ratified.
Yes, I'm just wondering if we require a motion on this or a consensus.
We probably don't. Consensus,
Yeah,
I
you're
guess.
Right.
Consensus is fine.
Yep.
Brendan?
If we maintain the calendar and start it on the 23rd, are the first 2 days for students still half days, or would that only be to the 25th?
It was only going to be on if we moved it to the following week, because the whole idea is that most often we don't like to start with a full week of school. So because that following week would be a full week of school to kind of gradually get the students into it, but it wouldn't be, the original calendar was full days of school on that Thursday and Friday.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'd just like to reiterate, that's one of the reasons as a teacher, I think it's good starting later in the week. Especially for little kids, if you started with a 2-day week and then a 4-day week and then built up to a 5-day week, I think that is beneficial, but I will stop trying to sway the votes at this point.
So, actually, can I have a,
Pat? Mrs. Caselli?
yeah, yeah, my apologies, first of all, for being a couple minutes late. My computer's been crashing on. I just want to understand, is the reasoning for this suggested change what you were saying, Dr. Menzo, with regard to just giving us a little bit more lead time, more time before the governor finally makes this? That would be our pitch to the board.
Yeah, just to give us the extra time. We don't know. I mean, the governor could come out next month and say, this is the way school's going to start. I don't foresee that happening.
Right.
He's going to take a little time, which I understand. There's not a criticism. It's just, we just need the time. And if the staff or the principals need to change, students are allowed to do voluntary distance learning. That really did take a lot of, time to go through, make sure classes, moving kids around, you have to enroll them differently. So that was the rationale.
Okay, thanks.
All right. I think that's it. So I guess we can take consensus on this, whether or not people are in favor. I'm going to go by my Hollywood squares here. So Mr. Corso,
Yes.
Ms. Caselli,
Yes.
Mrs. Varone,
Yes.
Mrs. Nicofaro,
Yes.
Mrs. Mather,
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt,
No.
and Mrs. Levesque,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, so with that, we could take the adjusted calendar to the board, the full board, for discussion at its regular board meeting 2 weeks from today. I don't know what the date is, but it's 2 weeks from today. I know it's a Monday.
March 22nd.
Thank you. Anything else for you today, Mrs. Saluzzi?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Seeing no other business for this group, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.